Guys, I don't know if y'all are like me or not, but I have been noticing something is off lately. Like, I don't know exactly what it is, but like, I mean, we've got all the stuff going on in the news, right? Like, we got, wars and rumors of wars and all the stuff that's out there.
Mhm.
Um, it's almost like there's been a shift. Um, the feeling I get is more of a when it seems like there might be the possibility or hope for things to change for the better. I've got a really, really bad feeling that this is all kind of planned out and that beneath the surface or behind the scenes, however you want to phrase it, there's just a shift going in the very, very wrong direction really, really quickly. That's just kind of the feeling I have about things going
Hmm.
on right now. So I don't know. I just thought I'd get some of y'all's thoughts on some of this stuff. I'm just a little uneasy. Something ain't right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's
So
definitely been strange with I mean maybe I've heard that it's the advent and the popularity of the smartphone and the social media, and you have now access to everything all the time for all the reasons. Where before, if something's happening in Washington D.C., you'd find out in the newspaper, maybe on the local news, news at 9 if you watched it. Otherwise, you just go on about your life, wake up and go to work the next day, and not even realize that the bill for such and such just passed, maybe, and then they're fighting, and so was yelling at so and so during the State of the Union, and you wouldn't even really notice. So I know that's part of it. Where it's like the information has really expanded.
Just the
It's
overload of it kind of
yeah,
thing.
it's just all day, every day, and I think it makes it harder because you have to go and find the good things, right? The bad things are kind of always there and in your face, and the good stuff is just as prevalent. But human, for whatever reason, we like don't seek that stuff out. And the Bible talks about think on things that are good, holy, and pure, and the world wants to say, look at all the bad and the death and destruction, and the new earthquake and the new volcano and the new snowstorm where everybody's sliding off the road and there's a 900 car pileup. And you're like, yeah, but what about anything else, right?
Right, yeah.
we just don't get that put in front of us very often. So it just makes you wonder if that's intentional or not. And you had mentioned like a shift and all that. And if you look on your keyboard right below that, it seems like it's all about control. And I think
Oh,
there's like the world around us is trying to control the narrative, and as they're controlling it, they're taking it maybe where they want. What gets the votes, what gets the fear tactics, what gets the everybody to jump on board with the modern trend. I think that's the big thing right now is how do we get you to spend your money? How do we get you to vote? How do we get you to all agree to the new fad or trend? Because we're people and somehow people like to follow, so they give you something to follow, and they're like, yeah, this week it's the new what are those Stanley Cups, and the next week it's the whatever, and then the next week it's something else, and it's always something to keep you busy, keep you occupied, and keep you spending money. And then you're
yeah.
on a pursuit of something, and as long as it's not God or holiness or family
Mm.
connection, they're perfectly. Hey, look, a new episode is just on TV this week. Hey, a new season of a whole a brand new show just came out again for the 964,000th time.
Yeah.
well, Kyle. Well, actually, let me say this, Jonathan. I think I'm gonna hit the Control Alt here, and so Kyle, I think you got the opposite of the Eagles song, so you don't have a peaceful, easy feeling right now, right?
Mm-mm. That's correct, sir.
Yes. Here's the thing. This is my perspective on it. Okay, this is something that's spiritual, and
Hmm.
so this isn't. Look, man, the rumors of wars, since the time Messiah left us, right? And so
Hmm.
there's always been something going on. And I agree, Jonathan, we're more connected now to everything.
Hmm.
Everything. Like you can know what's going on the other side of the world and what's happening with other people's lives in real time and all that stuff. but I honestly think this is more of a spiritual thing where those the set aparts, the children of our heavenly Father, I think we're feeling the effects of evil. And for me, I could take it all the way back to one of the earliest memories I have of feeling this, what we call this shift that's taking place, is when the Pope opened the door. And I know people say, "Oh, it was just a door. It was just symbolic. It was blah blah blah." Well, it's kind of funny. He opens his door that never gets open. I don't know what you're allowing to come through where you're at, but then he's not with us no more. Right after that, it wasn't, but so many months after that, and it wasn't too long after that. He's in a hospital somewhere, and if the reports that came in are true, that he's saying he's trying to fight the demons off from taking him to
Mhm.
hell. So something in the spiritual realm to me had a shift, and it's been happening. But I think what we have this gradual movement, then we have like a hard break, and so I think from that point on, um, there's something like, especially 2025. I felt like him for me personally. I felt like something was moving on the other side, and it was dark, it was evil, and can't really explain it more than that. And I will even say this, that whether people want to agree with it or not, it's okay. Um, and I shared this with Jonathan. I don't know if I shared this with you, Kyle, or not. Me and Jonathan, we like watching NFL. Kyle's not so much a big football fan either way. Yeah, get the Cowboys representing. I'm a Packers fan. Um, but and for whatever it means to anybody else, I'm gonna tell you right now, the NFL, I don't know why I felt this, but beginning of 2025, I felt like the NFL signed a blood contract with the devil.
Mm.
And that there was a shift that took place with the NFL. And look, it's been going on for a while. They control their halftime show. They control who sings at their halftime. And I would say out of the last 10 years, probably 7 out of the 10 has been demonic in one way or another.
At least.
There's been some type of political statement made one way or another. Um, and even this past Super Bowl, I'll be honest with you, I feel myself slowly disconnecting from all that,
Mhm.
and I could really care less. Normally, for years and years and years and years, we always had a Super Bowl party, whether our team was in it or not. And this particular year, I was like, you know what? I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of what's been put in our face. I'm tired of these things that happen behind closed doors. I'm tired of all of it. And then the exposure we're getting right now with the Epstein files is coming out, and why they're not just releasing it all, why it all has to happen in increments. And that right there is like, you know, enough just to I don't know the right words. It makes me sick. I mean, that's as simple as I get. It makes me sick to think of, one, how deep this goes, which we've already knew that. We already knew it just went from the top down and everybody else around. Yes, it's all there. It makes me sick to think that all this is coming out and we don't hear about anybody getting prosecuted. That's pure evil. We got the Olympics that came out. I didn't watch any of the Olympics. I can care
Yeah.
less, especially after the last Olympics with what they pulled. I don't care if people say it wasn't the Last Supper they were reenacting or not. It was the last. Matter of fact, the people who participated in it actually said, "Yes, we were doing it." They didn't think it was a big deal. Yeah, what's a big deal? It's like,
No, I'm
what's
glad
a
you said
big
that.
deal?
I had forgot about that.
Yeah, and that wasn't the only thing with the past Olympics that was demonic. You look at the opening day of the Olympics; it's all demonic. Then you look at the history of Olympics; it's demonic.
Yeah.
And this past one, this Olympics, well, I guess it's still going on. I don't know. That's how disconnected I am from it. That I can care less. Hey, congrats to USA men's hockey team beating Canada. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It means nothing.
Right.
It really doesn't when it comes to our spiritual salvation, our eternal life, and where we're going to spend when we leave this world. Absolutely means nothing. But I don't want to take away. Hey, those guys put in the time. All the people put in the time to prepare for all this stuff. Unfortunately, you're connected to something that's satanic and evil. And so, what we've had for the last 5 years is, in my opinion, is the evil's not hiding in the shadows no more. It's coming right out in your face. And especially
Yeah.
what took place 5 years ago, it's in your face. The If you watched any of the State of the Union address and you saw what the right side of the room was doing the entire time during the president's speech, it's demonic. And I don't care about either party as far as Democrats, Republicans. It's like, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And but there's definitely an agenda when you see to the right and the look on those people's faces, it's like it's demonic. And so now we're dealing with it, and we've been dealing with stuff and keep dealing with stuff, and I think it just kind of piles up. And at some point, you're like, okay, where's the relief come in? Where do we get a break from this? It's in social media. It's all over the place. It's in our face, and again, I honestly feel I agree with you, Kyle. Something has shifted, and don't know what the outcome of that's going to be yet. Okay,
Well, ultimately, we
but
know who wins.
oh yeah, we know who wins, but there's going to be a lot of things going on before that can happen. Good, bad, and ugly of all of it, right?
Mhm.
But again, for me, it's not so much that that we're so connected to everything, but it is that we're connected to everything that we get to experience these things, and it's kind of like, and even people are kind of warning people to be careful looking into the Epstein files because there's a lot of stuff in there that could trigger you or stuff that we really just don't need to entertain in our minds. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, this evil that's happening to all these children needs to stop. That should be number one before we go and spend over $1 trillion on our defense budget for drone technology, $989 billion or whatever it is. How about we invest that money and get in making sure the kids are safe? When you have 800,000 kids a year, and that's only counting the documented ones,
Mm.
by the way. When you have probably over 1 million children a year, that's the problem. That needs to stop. If you're going to spend any of my tax money, please put it into something. Go hire a bunch of Chuck Norrises and go out there and take care of business, man. I don't care. But that needs to stop. That should be priority over drones and more military stuff.
Yeah.
Take care of these kids and do what's right.
Mhm. Does Walker need a walker? Is he
Yeah,
that old?
he's
So
getting
I,
kind of old, so
Yeah.
Chuck's about there, man. But he's still looking good for 80-something years old.
He might have the tennis balls on the bottom.
I guarantee you, they're like, "Hey, Chuck, take care of the business." He'd be like, "All right, all right."
Roundhouse kick everybody.
so I think you, I, I think you kind of nailed it, Joe, in the direction I was going with that is, um, I definitely think that this is a spiritual thing because I mean, obviously, all the bad stuff that we've had going on, like this, been going on, right? Like that's
Hmm.
been going on, and I don't know, man. In the last, like even just few days, like there's just this. I really don't know how to explain it, but it's almost like a shift in the air around me, like almost like a heaviness, if you will, or a darkness, however you want to describe it there. But I don't know. I really don't know how to explain it. That's probably the best examples or analogies I can give on the feeling. But it's not any specific one thing. It's all the things and the things behind the things and the things that the new things that are coming up to distract you from the things that was there to distract you in the first place, that was there to distract you in the first place from whatever the thing is that we really
Hmm.
need to be distracted from, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like things are starting to come to a head.
Yeah.
In a, it, very quickly. I feel like things like even the stuff where we think people are about to get found out in their evil stuff that they're doing. Like I really almost think that is intentional. Like it's intentionally put out there to drag us on a little more hope in this direction, a little more, a little more distraction, a little more hope, a little more whatever, just to keep you off pace of whatever else is there, so that something else can come in right behind and take care of stuff. I mean, my goodness, the governor of Florida, right? Right. I think we talked about this a long time ago, about how people are moving down to Florida because Governor DeSantis down there is he's like the American governor. He's the one that stands up for Constitution and, yada, yada, yada. When we've always thought Texas to be that state, but it ended up becoming Florida for some reason. And now Florida is the one spearheading this idea that essentially removes the First Amendment. Right. I won't go into details about that, but,
Right.
in other words, you can say whatever you want to about our government. You can say whatever you want to about any specific religion or people group or whatever. You have the freedom to do that as long as it's not this one specific country with this one specific religion from this one specific people group. As long as you don't say anything about that particular people, you're fine. But if you do with that people, you go to jail.
Yep.
What?
Yikes.
So yeah. I don't think we need to be as concerned about wars with other countries as much as we should be concerned about the wars that are going to be happening in this country should governors and presidents and other leaders decide that they want to try to escalate that. That ain't gonna work out too well for any of us. So I don't know, man. I feel like it's a big show. I feel like the stuff that we're being shown is show to get us constantly.
Oh, absolutely.
Not that we need to be ignorant of those things, right?
Mhm.
But at the same time, there's something else behind it. And then we have this. I know we talked about last episode, I believe it was, about how, or one of the previous episodes, about how, there's a possibility of Epstein still being alive, right? And being filmed in that same particular country that I just mentioned. We have all these CEOs that are quitting and moving the country, leaving the country. We have a big shift in a lot of higher ups in finance, in all kinds of industries, in you name it. Stuff is getting very, very different. Everything going to subscription base. Major corporations charging more money at the checkout than what it's labeled as, like getting away with all kind of fraud and just you name it. Like, and nothing is being done about anything. And I believe it's intentional because there's something else coming. And I believe that a lot of these, I know I kind of went all over the place here, but I believe a lot of these people that are supposedly unalived now, or retiring, as if the first 75 billion wasn't enough, they went on to generate another 284 billion, but now they're ready to retire, right?
It's a good time.
Yeah, and they all just happen to be doing it at the same time and leaving the country and just disappearing. It just makes me wonder, especially being as so many of these people are going to the same location. Why? Anyway,
Well,
I'll let y'all speak.
I'll say what was something that I kind of, I try to keep my ear close to the ground, like not dig into stuff so much that it gets you all worried and flustered, because nobody's got time for that. But you see interviews with like Tucker Carlson, with Mike Huckabee over there in where you were speaking on, and some of the news that came out of that was interesting. Some of like stuff he said that was harassing or whatever. Like I wasn't there. I don't have first eyeballs on the story, but some of the questions that were being asked and some of the answers were very like, so
Mhm.
if somebody is over there and they've done a crime in the United States, they're allowed to stay? What? Or
Mhm.
well, they have settlements and you're allowed to just go over there and take places that are already settled and you
Mhm.
get paid to settle it. It was just a lot of interesting, like I said, I've personally known of some stories, I've heard some stuff, I've kind of watched some things, and you're like, it's all hearsay, it's all circumstantial. But when you kind of hear like our representative to that nation just saying it out of his mouth, you're like, I mean, that's the horse's mouth, literally. So I guess that is what's happening, and it just makes you wonder sometimes when you see, like Kyle was saying, so much going on. It'd be different if like, oh, we've got ships in the water getting close to Iran. You're like, all right, yeah, it is what it is. But then you're like, everybody, everywhere, all the time,
Mhm.
at maximum intensity.
All at once. Yeah.
And Kyle, you brought up some cool points about like people charging more money for stuff. I mean, just look at the auto industry. Like it's completely normal to have dealer markup on regular cars. You're like, oh, this car's 40,000. Cool, we're gonna sell it for 55. Why? Oh, because we can. The market dictates that you will buy it over MSRP. You're like, what? When do we what? When have we ever been in a place where we paid more for something than what it's worth as the norm? You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Mhm.
that's not. I mean, yeah, if you have this new special painted Corvette or something, and you're like, all right, that's a commodity. Someone's gonna use it as a collector item. But just like your regular car, it's like, here's the price, and they're like, plus whatever we say because we can, and you're still gonna buy it, and we still buy it, and so it's no wonder that they keep pushing the agenda because every time they push, we give ground. As a not we as us three, but like as the population of the world, it's not even just America, it's the population of the world. We're just constantly giving ground. We love to go on those websites and you get that long privacy statement, do you agree statement where we scroll to the bottom of those 900 pages and say, I consent and agree to whatever it is that was on that piece of paper that we don't even know what it is. And when they come to find out stuff, they're like, "Oh yeah, we took all your pictures. Oh, we're allowed to access anything on your phone for the rest of perpetuity." Cool. I didn't. If I'd have known that, and you're like, "Well, we told you." And I think they just keep pushing, pushing, pushing. So we get a lot of that internationally, and then in America, we've got the Charlie Kirk, Erica Candace. It's like it's always something to like put your eyeballs on this. And the crazy part is everybody's got something crazy going on. Like, you're like, oh, look at this interview, look at this documentary, look at this thing. And you're like, ain't no way in the world every one of these stories is on the up and up. Somebody's got to be wrong somewhere. Somebody's doing something fishy somewhere because there wouldn't be enough dirt in the world to dig. I mean, you could dig into Jonathan's life all you want. You can find a little this, a little that. Like, I'm like, yeah, I admit, I'm not perfect, whatever. But, you see these people, you're like, oh, name changes and weird witchcraft stuff. And, like where your attachments were, weird foreign influences, weird international problems in your pal. Like, I don't have any international problems. What? I've seen places overseas. I've never been in trouble or a part of any kind of agency where bad things were happening to people or children. You know what I mean? Like, what? So it's getting real silly. And I think for me, the biggest thing that I've kind of picked up on recently, and then Joe, I'll let you jump in, is like the religious stuff. Right. I know we did an episode on like Jelly Roll and some of the influence that he's had with like Brandon Lake and different things like that. But it's like this modern faith based, loosely I'm using that,
Mhm.
Christian
Ease.
ease
Yep.
conversations that are happening. The Hallow app is like everywhere now on like regular commercials and TV. The Chosen Con is a thing now where like people have chosen so much they have like conventions to go do chosen stuff. And I'm not saying that it's wrong or bad in and of itself. And I'm not calling any of the people that are doing that stuff wrong or bad. It's just interesting that we've put like the new faith conversation back on the forefront. But it's almost like a ruse, like a
Entertainment.
Trojan horse kind of thing. Like I don't even know how to
Uh-huh.
describe it. It's like
Yeah.
it's there and I appreciate it. I mean, I'd rather that than devil music and naked ladies, right? Like that's better. At least you're like kind of representing something that's good. But then you kind of see some of the things that are going behind the scenes. You see some of their private interviews. You see some of the what's actually happening behind the scenes, and you're like, I kind of don't want my Messiah in your mouth. You know what I mean? I kind of don't want you representing it if that's the direction you're living your life, or that's the what you're showing people, because what is that going to ultimately do? Put a bad taste in their mouth.
Yeah.
So it's just I think to me, that's the weird part, is there's a lot of stuff's getting real religious, and I don't know why. And it's the big three, you know what I mean? Like all the Abrahamic religions are all kind of like jockeying for position right now and trying to like amass as many groupies as they can. But like, I don't know. And I know
Like,
there's
we'll
some,
take whatever you'll give us.
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah,
Yeah. As
and
long as
there,
you'll put this label on you, you can be a part of us.
exactly. And I know that there's some good going on, right? God's still moving in these situations. People are still getting saved. Baptisms are still happening. But Joe brought it up before with like some of like the charismatic stuff. There's a lot of weird stuff going on, and people are like kind of steering that way more often than not. They're steering toward the non-denominational, which I'm not saying that's wrong, but you know, they're steering toward like Catholic light. They're steering toward things that are just kind of like, if you did you who told you about the Messiah, and what discipleship program are you on? Because you're getting information that's like VeggieTale adjacent. You know what I mean? Like we got to do better. Like I ask you questions about your faith, and you're like, I mean, my kids could walk circles around you. It's just interesting to see where things are going right now.
When non-denominational becomes do as thou will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what I see.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what it means to me. So
Yeah.
So, here's the other thing. Everything we've talked about so far and everything that's happening, all this needs to come to light though.
Yeah.
And it is there what I think what we're feeling too, Kyle, is there's an exposure that's taking place right now. These things are being exposed before us, and there needs to be discernment to understand what you're actually seeing and what's going on. Jonathan, when you were talking about the charismatic movement, I that's one of the things that I've taught a lot on, and between that and prosperity gospel and all the things that are not biblical. And so I follow some guys on YouTube that do a lot of exposing of this. And this is something the father shared, told me probably 3, 4 years ago to look for this. He's like, these kingdoms will fall. Because that's what a lot of these guys have built. They've built a kingdom around them, around their ministry, and he's like, these going to the wayside. The father is doing a sweeping of the ministries, I believe, that are not properly representing him, and that this is biblical, that he is going to give us new shepherds. He's going to give us shepherds with the right heart, shepherds that are going to actually shepherd the people and lead them in the ways of our Heavenly Father. And a lot of these guys are getting exposed now, and I'm not going to bring up any names right now, but all these guys who are speaking prophetic messages are getting called to the carpet, and they need to be called to the carpet. Um, there's even been one of the guys I was listening today with one of the guys who's very popular with giving prophetic messages. They're now saying that he is responsible for someone's death because basically he was saying how God was going to do this for them. He spoke over them and God was going to do all these things concerning their health, and the person died. And so when you have these guys also, and this is something that I'm like, you better know for a fact God's telling you to say this. But when you tell people to stop taking medication and have faith, oh, just go ahead and stop taking your blood pressure. Go ahead and stop taking your diabetic medication, whatever it is. And it's like people have died because they are trusting what these people are saying and that they were given a word. These other big ministries that are attached to these individuals should have been coming out sooner and saying something, because a lot of them now it's coming to light. They knew they were frauds, but for the sake of face value, didn't want to say anything. And I'm like, you really needed to say something. You need to, if you have a congregation, your obligation is to protect that congregation to the best of your ability. And if someone comes in and you find out later they're a false prophet, you need to repent before your congregation and say, "Hey, by the way, when so and so was here, we didn't see it then, but now we understand it now. We repent of it. Please forgive us, but this person will never be a part of our ministry again." There's a revealing that's taking place, but all these things have to come to light. And it's not easy to see all these things. It's not, it's not something that I find any pleasure in whatsoever to see these men falling from from the platform that they built for themselves. But these are things that the Father is exposing. So when we step back and we look at everything, I feel like we have a bunch of fronts around us. Like if you're in war, you have all these, the front line, but then we got the east side over here, the west side over here. You got all these different fronts that are around us. So now not only are we dealing with spiritual things within our own house, we're also dealing with wicked spiritual things on the outside of that are going on with the rest of the world. So
Mm.
sometimes you can just feel like you're almost like you're isolated, like, oh God, it's like this, it literally feels surrounded by all of it. But again, these things I believe have to come to light. Jonathan, when you're talking about the celebrities, this is something, and look, I don't know these celebrities' lives. I can't speak for Jelly Roll. I can't speak for anybody who says they believe in God or believe in Jesus Christ. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to be the judge and juror in their life.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
I will warn people. Let me just warn. I want to send a warning out to everyone, and that is this: be careful who you're attaching yourself to. At the end of the day, this is all entertainment. At the end of the day, they're actors, they're musicians, they're whatever in the public eye. And for some reason, we become emotionally attached to them. Like we know them personally.
Right.
Like we eat breakfast with them in the morning and we go out shopping with them or whatever. We're watching Super Bowls together. And all of a sudden, because if someone was to say something negative about someone that you like, oh no, that's not the way they are at all. I'm like, how do you know?
Right.
But that's the part where I think because we love being connected. It's just like our NFL teams. We say my team, right? It's like, oh, that's my team. My team. And it's like,
Well, Joe, I don't have to
is
say that. I get to say America's team, but that's
we get to
fine.
say America's team, yeah, America. But we automatically, we take ownership of stuff. We take
Right.
ownership of these people. And they'll say, oh, well, so and so he confessed or he said something about Jesus, so he's saved. I'm like, really? We got to do better than this,
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with all the stuff that's coming out with what's that app called again?
Hallow.
Hello.
Hello. Come on, man. All I could tell you is I'm not trying to beat up on any of these people. But what I'm saying is please go to the Father and pray for discernment
Yeah.
because and I don't know what it is, but anytime there's anything that puts God on it, we automatically think it's good. And
Right.
that's not the case, man. This has happened over and over and over. We get to Easter, we put God over. Oh, Easter's fine now. We get to Christmas, we put God on it. Well, it's fine now. You just even with Halloween, as wicked as that is, it's all Hallows Eve, and you go back to some kind of thing way back when, but that's not what it is.
Dude,
But
our
Joe,
currency and our currency and our car tags having God we trust on it.
Yeah, and guess what? They ain't the God that we serve of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I can promise
Right.
you that.
but the commercial said he gets us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. He gets you. You
Yeah.
stand over there at
He
that
gonna
door
get
over there. Yeah, he gonna get you.
you.
But that's the thing is we have to be careful. And one of the things too I want to just warn people of is when it comes to social media, please be careful what you're putting out on social media.
Mm,
Yep.
Facebook is not your friend.
mhm.
It is the largest digital, visual, whatever you want to call it, site that's in the world. It has everyone who posts on there. You post yourself, your kids, everybody. It's the biggest facial recognition program in the world. And I promise you, Facebook is not your friend. Quit telling people when you're away from your home. Quit being stupid. Don't be stupid, okay? Don't say, oh, we're over here having a good time. You just announced to everyone on Facebook that you're not home. that you're having a good old time over in Orlando, Florida, high-fiving the governor out there, okay? And it's like, and then not only that, but here's the thing. That's my opinion. With all these platforms, there's a reason why they allow certain things to take place. So they're going to know by what you like, what you share, what you post. It's going to give them an idea of, oh, this person's with this party, this
Mhm.
person's against this group of people, this person's blah blah blah. So yeah, there's this freedom right now of all these guys out there putting out all this information, which a lot of it's good information, and I'm not gonna lie. But at the end of the day, you're putting it
That's much.
on their server. You're putting it in their hands. At the end of the day, they know who you are, who you represent, who you support, all of that stuff. And guess what? I promise you this, it's all going on the list somewhere digitally.
Whose side you're on.
Yes.
Yep.
So when you're putting your content out there and you're doing all this stuff and you're putting your pictures out there and your kids' pictures, just be careful because all you're doing is updating their database, their data banks every time
Mhm.
you do that.
Mhm.
That's Facebook years ago said, hey, let's look at 10 years, how much you've changed. Everybody who did that, I promise you just participated in their social thing and you just updated all their photos on you. Because everybody, oh look, this is what I looked like 10 years ago, and this is what I look like today. Thank you. Somebody was saying, "Oh, there we go. There's another one. Click, and there we got your image now. We have an updated image so that look at on your phones. Take a picture of somebody. Now your phones will say, "Hey, we recognize some of those faces from your Facebook. Would you like to tag them in it?" So if you don't think it's a facial recognition program, think again.
Yeah.
They got you.
Joe, Joe, it's worse than that, Bubba. Do you guys I don't know if you guys have ever watched the Sean Ryan podcast or anything like that.
Yeah.
He had a guy on one time that was really, really good at like hacking things.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Oh,
what I'm talking
yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Okay.
saw the episode. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you know exactly who I'm
The
talking
little
about.
device that he had, right? He's like, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Now that guy's been on a few times and he's talked about all kinds of cybersecurity stuff that, you know, backdoors into encrypted, yada, 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 all kind of stuff, right? Finding footage and things that should never be found, you know, all kinds of stuff.
Mhm.
Um, hmm. How I'm gonna try to package this as small as I can. Basically, if you take a picture, if your child takes a picture and posts it on social media, even if they remove all the markers to tell the location and time and all that stuff,
Yeah.
people are now using AI to search all the Google Maps, Google Earth, all this
Mhm.
other stuff, and they can pinpoint the location of where you are in your at your home or whatever, like in your
Mhm.
backyard. They can track down your location exactly where you are. That's very scary,
Mhm.
right? Like you can't post a picture of you and your child in your backyard without somebody having the ability to say, I know your address.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's supposedly so good that if enough information is revealed in the picture, you can even do it indoors,
Mhm.
not just at public places, in your house,
Mhm.
Right.
because it can search databases of real estate listings, and if there's enough information, they can know exactly what the inside of your house looks like, not just your location.
Mhm.
So
I've seen a few of them. They're like, "Oh, gas range, delete all houses with electric stoves," and then it was like, "Oh, tile," and then like outside is sunny, so delete any area that had clouds this day, and then they're like pinpointed it down to like a city in like 1 second. I was like, "Wow!"
just
that
like that. Yep.
just the
Yep.
city was already creepy. Then they got the house, and they're like, "Oh, and your bathroom's on the second door on the left." You're like, I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah. Did you ever change that carpet because it used to be pink? You know,
Right.
like the information that most people are not ever going to do anything with this information. The only people that are ever going to do anything with this information is bad people.
Yep.
Period. So why is it being collected in the first place? That's the question.
Mhm.
You know, and why are we allowing it? So yes, be very, 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 very careful. I know we
Yep.
kind of shifted conversations a little bit, but hey, there was
Yeah,
a
but
shift,
I mean,
right?
it's all part of it, man. It's
It
part of the
is.
illusion where Facebook comes off as a safe place for everyone to have conversations and share photos, share their weddings, whatever's going on, and it's a very innocent thing that people are doing. But again, what you're not recognizing is the fact that you're giving someone else your information,
All right.
and just be careful what you're giving out.
Well, and I think
Think about this real quick. Think about all the movie stars who refuse to have their children photographed.
There's a reason.
There's a reason. It's not just because, oh, I just want to protect their identity because I'm super famous and all that stuff. It's like, no, they know that once their children's images are captured, it's forever.
Yep.
So a lot of them, when their children are small, they're like, no photos, no nothing. Matter of fact, they won't even bring them out into public, or if they're going to events. It's not until the children are probably usually teenagers or older for some of those people before you ever even see what they look like. And it's like so there's something to that other than I'm famous and I want to keep this, whatever. I'm sure that's part of it. Other part of this is they know because they're part of that system, we're going to try to protect our children as long as we can.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, we're out there putting stuff on the internet with our family and everything. I mean, for some of y'all, it wouldn't be hard to find you if you if you type that into AI. Hey, find this place, to be like, bloop, there we go, right there.
yeah.
And also I want to say this too. Like, right now, my computer, I've got a ad block VPN, and I haven't connected to it because when I do connect to it, it slows me down here. It's
Mhm.
supposed to be, protect your information and all that stuff. But I'm gonna tell you right now, even if you got a VPN, if you're using the special websites or whatever, what's the one with the rabbit that you log in? It's got a rabbit as a logo. You know what I'm talking about? For
Mhm.
what is that called? Somebody in the comments put it in there for me, but it's oh, actually, I think I got it right here. Duck go or something like that.
That's a
That's a
duck.
duck.
What did I say?
A
A rabbit?
Oh, rabbit. Yeah, never mind. Yeah. That's why I was telling me off. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, Bugs Bunny up here.
You've
Yeah,
never
so
been down the
duck
rabbit hole too
go. There
long.
we go.
Rabbit, go.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get on that one because they'll get you in trouble. But no, like we're right now, just pull it up, the duck go, and then I heard that
Oh
they
yeah.
actually sold it
Yeah.
I'm like, so they're all this whole thing about, oh, they're private, protect your information. And then somebody comes right in and goes, hey, I'll give you $1 billion. Oh, sure. Here's everybody's information.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. You got to be careful because none of this is protected as you think it is.
Right.
And if the right people with the right amount of money want your information, they're gonna get it.
What was it? 23 and Me that sold? One of them that sold, and now all that
Well, and they
information that was
promise, oh, we
supposedly
promise we'll
private.
never sell your information to anybody. Oh, $1
Right.
billion. Here you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Or however much it's sold for. I'm just being
Right.
They
funny
Right.
with
didn't
the $1
sell
billion,
your
but
information. They sold the company, and the company owned your information. So hey.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, with all
Legal
the
loophole.
DNA markers and everything else. I wonder why they needed all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 Well,
Hey,
and Joe, Joe, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I would love to hear some of you guys down in the comments. I would love to hear
Mm-hmm.
some feedback from y'all as to like if y'all have noticed a shift in anything
Mm.
recently, because it can't just be me or us. Like it's there's got to be more to it.
Let me
Right.
let me say this real quick. I will tell you how I think it's affected us to the point I've seen more nostalgic postings on like Instagram, if is it still called Instagram, I guess. I know they changed their names, but I've seen more nostalgic postings of AI stuff going, hey, it's 1980 and they're calling you back. And so a lot of people, and even myself included, man, there's times where I think, man, I would love to go back to the 80s. Why is it that the time that I'm living in now, that I feel like I would be happier going to the 80s? And for some of you guys, it might be the 90s was your happy place in life. And so I see a lot of 80s and 90s nostalgic stuff, and I've subscribed to a bunch of them because it's cool to go back and look at the old Pizza Huts and the ABC After School Special, all the stuff that they just show like the beginnings of them, and they put them all in one little whatever little clip. And it's like I was like, man, so you got to go back to 1980 to be able to ride my BMX bike. Me and my brothers going all over the little town we lived in, never worried about one thing. Just had to be home when when the street lights come on, be home. That's it. It was just we'd watch Dukes of Hazzard on Friday nights. Mom would make homemade Chef Boyardee pizza, and we'd play Atari and stay up all night having fun. And the next morning, I'd be the first one up watching Saturday morning cartoons. And it's like those are the things that your mind goes back to. So what's going on in this realm that we're living in right now, where so many people are feeling the same way, where they just want, I just want to go back to another time. I
Mhm.
don't even want to live in this time anymore.
Mm. Yeah.
First, real quick, what's Chef Boyardee pizza?
Are you
Huh?
serious?
Yeah, I never even heard of what is it you're talking about.
You've heard of Chef Boyardee, right?
Yeah, like ravioli and
Yeah,
lasagna.
so I don't know if they still make or not, but they used to sell a little kit in a box, and you'd make your homemade pizza with it. You'd make the dough,
Oh,
you'd make the dough and roll it out and put the sauce, and it came with a
yes.
little tiny pepperoni
Okay.
on there. Yeah, yeah,
I think
man.
I
Yep.
only caught on like the Lunchable version of that.
No, man, Friday nights, I remember every now and then we'd be in there watching Dukes of Hazzard, and
They
mom
were
would be in there,
great.
and she'd let me and my bros go in there, and once she rolled the dough out, she let us put the sauce and the cheese and the pepperonis on there and
Okay.
stuff. And
So it was legit.
yeah. Oh, it was for real. Yeah.
Yeah, but so kind of to your point there, also for you guys, like I said, Kyle said, if you notice any shifts or you feel anything, let us know. You can also shift your thumb over to the subscribe button. That'd be pretty cool. But like when we look at this modern generation, and Joe, you kind of hit on something very interesting. I don't know if I want to go back to the 80s personally, but like,
When were you born?
You
Like
were a
80,
fault man,
89, 87?
listen, we don't need to get into details, okay?
Yeah.
But
weren't
everybody has like a time when they remember where things were different or better or
Right.
less. We think that we're the most advanced generation, right? We have the most stuff, the most technology, the most information. Why is it we feel the least free? Why is it we feel like we
Mhm.
you can't leave your house without double checking the lock on the door? You know what I mean? You can't park in certain
right.
areas where there's not a street light because you're like, you never know. It's just like it's a weird time to be in. And so I've been kind of keeping up with some talk about shifts. There's some weird stuff going on. So one of them is this is the first time in modern history, recent recorded history, where the current generation has not surpassed the previous generation. And that was
Mm,
an intellectual knowledge share. It went through all these different
Mhm.
categories, and every generation before this current one was always smarter than the previous one. They were like they knew more stuff, they had more options, they had more availability, they were able to do more, they were able to access more. Every generation except for this current one, and they
mm,
were saying this new one, they're not learning cursive. They're not learning. They're like the modern high schoolers still can. I forgot what article I was reading the other day, but it said like fourth grade reading level is like the new norm. People are like not knowing how to read because everything's on screens now. When you go to school, they're given tablets and laptops. You're not even given books and paper and stuff to like, stuff that we
right.
use to gain knowledge. And that blew my mind. I was like, how is it that the new generation isn't better, faster, smarter than the previous generation? It's crazy. That
Mhm.
shouldn't
Yeah,
make
right.
sense. But then you start looking around. If you're like 30, 27, 50s in that range, you're like looking at these younger kids coming up. You're like, I could take you. You know what I mean? And like anything, right? You're like physical, probably still got you. Mental, probably still walk circles around you. It used to be the old joke, oh, grandpa don't know how to use computer. Grandpa kick your butt on a computer. He's like, well, hold on, let me do some, finagling and I'll show you something. It's just interesting to see that that's never happened before. That like whatever's going on is not causing greatness. That whatever's going on is not growing the new generation, and we're literally going backwards. That's what's happening. On top of the birth rates are just abysmal, so we don't even have enough people to make enough people to do stuff for another generation. I don't even how you have more generations if we don't have enough people. I don't know, but this one is getting more worse, right? I was gonna say worser for fun, but then that would put me in that category. So then the other part of it is like we were talking about, how they're able just to like change things and buy like 23andMe and these rabbit go and all that stuff. Um this happened with health food. So, you used to buy like, oh, this brand is healthy. It's Special K, it's herbal whatever,
Oh,
right?
it's special, all right.
All these
Yeah.
fancy names and all these expensive like cereals and toothpaste and deodorants and all these fancy brands that used to be expensive and nice, they were bought up by the regular brands, the Kellogg's and the Colgates and the Johnson and Johnson, right? They bought them, changed the recipe, changed the formula to just kind of normal stuff, kept the expensive label, kept all the little fancy words on there, and still just taking all the money. And so they were like, "Oh yeah, I'm buying the organic, health-free, paraben-free BPA," and they're like, I mean, that's what we do with all the stuff. We just put this fancy label and a cool sticker on it, and you spent double the money. And go figure, big pharma, big industry owns it now. It's no longer that, oh, we're just a mom and pop shop because we love your teeth and we want to make sure we give you fluoride free forever. And they're like, yeah, 20 years ago before they were bought, and now they took their money and they're like, yeah, well, we don't know what the company's doing. So
Right.
health food went through that, and that's if you want to deep dive, that's a whole can of worms that will make your stomach hurt a little bit.
Yeah, but you know what? With that, Jonathan, the sad part is that's mostly. I feel like that's mostly centered around us in the U.S.
Mm,
Because other
that's true. Yeah.
nations around the world, if you look at if you take, they just take Heinz ketchup here in America
Right.
versus Heinz ketchup over in England or somewhere else over there,
Right.
and they have like maybe
Four
five
ingredients.
ingredients. Yeah, 4 or 5
Yeah.
ingredients. And here we've got stuff that you can't even pronounce.
Right.
Along with the other ingredients, you're like going, why do I have this? And why, they'll say, oh yeah, well over there they banned the red color, the red
Hmm.
dye 40 and all the other things, and the whatever this stuff is called. It's got,
Yeah. The glyphosates.
yeah, there you go. I'm glad you said, because I was probably gonna say something that wasn't gonna sound right, but
The gyroscopes.
yeah. But that's something that I think that's more like America needs to wake up on that too and go, you know what? And I know what's his name? Robert Kennedy.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yep.
He's seems to be pushing that agenda forward for us, which I'm very thankful for. But when you look at the amount of chemicals that we consume, and then
Hmm.
my daughter, Megan, she's got an app on her phone and she's always preaching to me. She'll scan something in my house. Dad, do you know that this has? Yeah, I know, I know.
Right. All right.
So
Well, real quick, Kyle, let me add one more in there.
yeah,
That
I'm
one.
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All good. So the last one that was, we're talking about this big shift thing. We're talking about, the kids and Joe, like I said, I appreciate your heart on that and being like, just no nonsense. Like we got to take care of the kids, right?
Yep.
One, the Bible calls them a blessing. Two, that's the next generation. And three, they're innocent, right? Up until they're a certain age, they don't even, they just need to be taken care of. They rely on adults for everything in their life, and
Right.
adults are the ones doing them wrong. That's crazy. You know what I mean? Like, that's bonkers. Stuff people do to children they wouldn't do to pets, right? They'd go to jail for harming a pet, but yet they can do unspeakable things to children, and it's like, right? And I'm not okay with that either, right? I'm trying to be a little bit nicer so we can keep the episode going. But um, one of the things that came out recently was, and I don't know if you guys heard about this, the school pictures. Have you heard this
I'm
whole?
glad you
Ah,
brought it up. That's yeah. Go ahead.
Okay,
yeah.
so
Yeah,
there's
data basing.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, this is pre-Facebook. So this has been going on for a long time. I don't know how old,
Oh,
it's been since I was a kid, at least, years back. So when you look at this idea of, they were like, every school across the whole nation, every year, you get free pictures. They're going to take them no matter what. Now, what company? Now, one thing I was going to tell you, there's no such thing as free. If you ever hear free, it's wrong, right? Google Maps free. No, it's not free. They're just taking every data point of everything you ever do, and they map your streets with it. They map the times and distances. They use your data to build their app, right? When you go
Yep.
to Google, they use your inputs for their purposes. The only thing that's free is nothing. So just leave it there, right? Facebook's not free. You're like, oh yeah, no, they're advertising to you, they're taking your information, and they're advertising to you, right? That's what it's there for. So these pictures, they're taking pictures of every kid in every school every year, whether you buy them or not. Who's taking free pictures? Who's sending employees to every school everywhere, getting all these? Then they print the picture. They give you like that one free picture. You know, they're like, yeah, if you want more, buy this for $900, right? Because it's always crazy expensive. 17 wallets and 45 5x6s and 22 guns, and you're like, what's going on? But when you when you see all the stuff on those lists, that's crazy. The keychains and the magnets or whatever, they're crazy about stuff. But free pictures every year. And then so now it came out that people were like, I think it was even in the Epstein files, they're like,
Yep.
wait, what's going on with these pictures and these kids? And they were like, uh-oh, there's a connection that's bad. And poor regular humans, right? Joe, Kyle, me, we all got kids. We've been around kids. We got grandkids, right? Children have been around our lives the whole time. None of us have ever thought we should look into school pictures as something bad. We're just honest American people. All of you guys watching, just regular American people, just thinking this is a age-old tradition. We take pictures of our kids to show their growth, show what they did in 6th grade. What an amazing! This is so awesome.
Picture day's coming, so don't wear your football jersey.
Right, it's time to put on something nice.
Day, we always had that one kid within our yearbook. They always had. You can tell he forgot it was picture day because he wore like that's
something
what you wore
crazy.
for picture day.
Yeah.
But it's just like it's something so innocent, like tradition. It's almost like a tradition of something positive.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, there's this huge, ugly, black, nefarious background to all of that. It just makes you sick. And you're like, and for the kids, you could do picture day at Google, at the warehouse, at Amazon distributors or something. Take those pictures. Why the kids? Why every year? And then whenever they release it, they were like, it's actually bad. And now schools are saying we're not inviting them back this year. The schools administrations are fighting back before the parents. And I'm like, thank you. They should have our backs. But I just didn't know if you guys heard that. And that blew my mind. I was like, what is even that?
Yeah, it didn't surprise me whatsoever, but just like I said, it's sad because the kids are innocent and it's something this been doing it forever, and you think, oh, this, like you said, it's the norm.
Right.
It's coming every year. They send out hey, there's picture days coming up, blah blah blah, and so all the parents will put on their nice outfits, get their haircuts, whatever. And like you said, the nefarious reasons behind it is very sickening. And again, this is like I said, this stuff needs to stop.
Right.
All this stuff needs to stop.
Or a missing child has their name show up on a certain website. I don't even know if we're allowed to say it, but it show up on a certain website as a bookshelf for $17,000, $52,000 for a shoe rack.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're allowed to say the website if it's not going to get us in trouble, but that same missing child's name shows up on a website for tens of thousands of dollars for an item that would cost $60.
Have you heard, by the way, the breakdown of what the name is actually two names put together that have independent meanings? Way has a meaning and fair has a meaning. Yeah. And it has to do with I can't remember the language or whatever, but one of them has to do with sales, and the other one has to do with young, small people. That was my understanding of what was said. So yeah, interesting.
Right. So what
Even
were you
the very
going
name.
So what were you going to say about those pictures, though, Kyle?
What I think about the pictures?
Yeah, picture school day.
To me, like, honestly, nothing really surprises me anymore, right?
It should, right? It should.
It should. That's the problem. Is we should be so absolutely appalled
All right.
to the point to where we are, you know, villages are going up to the courthouses demanding that justice be served, or the people who's in charge of making sure justice gets served has justice served to them. That's where we should be in our society.
Right.
But there's just so much, so evil all the time that it has just worn us to the point to where, like, yeah, that pretty much lines up with what's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my McDonald's? You know, I mean, that's where we are, right?
Do you think, Kyle, that this is, I'm not going to say, like the Father allows things to happen, right? He allows the world to get crazy. Do you think this is all somewhat intentional, for there's nothing left to turn to but the Father? There's nothing else. Like, you can't turn to the world, the school, the doctor, the house, the industry, the fill in the blank of anything. Everything's going to fail, and it's broken and busted and terrible. Only thing left is God. For every human on earth, there's nothing left that's good. What is good, right? Even the rich young ruler was asking Yeshua, well, aren't you good? He's like, there's none good but my dad. And I wonder if, like, we're in the world now where he's like, hey, Jonathan, Kyle, Joe, what's good? And you're like, God, and then the people who love God and the stuff that has to do with God, and that's kind of it.
Yeah. Which is another reason why, Jonathan, I think he's removing all these false shepherds and removing all this and just getting a lot of stupid stuff out of the way. So he's like, no, that's not me, by the way. This is me, and revealing that. One of the things too, and here's the other part, I think, for me, it just hit me, of this evil cloud that's around us. And I'm going to go back to the children, but you also have within the Epstein files about people eating kids and the other things that they're doing with the children. And I'm like going, and hey, look here, for whoever's listening to this, just be careful about, again, what you attach yourself to, what you're watching, who you're supporting. A lot of these people that are in Hollywood, the ones we call the A-list actors, they're a part of this. And it's not just children. They talk about eating people in general. And so this isn't, it's gross and it's sick. And again, I agree with you, Jonathan, that I believe all this stuff is being exposed and being brought out, because at the end of the day, the father's like, okay, you can go with that or you can come with me. You can make your choice.
Right.
But I think he's going to make it so obvious that, hey, this is evil. And if you continue on this road, you pick that, you're going to pick a side. And if you want to pick this side, come over here with me. That's, hey, come on. But I think I agree with you that I believe it's gotten to the point where it's like all this stuff is being exposed. I think a lot of people are asking the question, then what's real? All the things that we love growing up with, getting your picture taken at school and all the stuff that's going on in this world. You're okay, what's left? What is real? And the father had spoke to me probably now about 15 years ago, and I didn't fully understand it then. But when he spoke to me as clear as I could tell you, and he just said to me one day, sitting on my front porch of my house, he said that everything in this world is fake. He says everything that you see is fake. And I was like, I didn't understand it fully. I was like, I just started coming to my knowledge of 9/11, my eyes being opened up to some things going on with that. I said, maybe it has something to, no. Almost 20 years later, I'm realizing, yeah, everything that we see from how we're programmed through social media, we're programmed through Hollywood, we're programmed through music. Our kids are being programmed in school every day. This is all one big program. When you realize that all the guys who claim to be enemies of each other are all playing golf and smoking cigars and talking about us and having a good old time, and then it's back to lights, camera, action. Now I'm going to play my role and you play yours, and we'll pretend like we hate each other, and we're going to threaten each other with nuclear war, and we're going to do all these other things, and the whole world's like picking sides and who they're going to be with and who they hate that they've never met, and all these things. And you realize this is all theater, and it's all here to deceive you, my friend. And so at the end of the day, I agree with you. Who you got left but our Heavenly Father? So anyway.
It's like we're living in combination of the Matrix and They Live all at the same time.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like we're conscious, but we're totally oblivious to anything around us.
Mhm.
It's I don't know.
Well, I
Well,
think
you
that's why
could,
we get that picture in the Old Testament where they're like, all right, you guys go on this mountain, you guys go on this mountain. I just want you
Mhm.
to see what this looks like. This side is blessings, this side is curses. Just pick, dude. Like, you can choose. Like, the good is as abundant as the bad. So, as much bad as we see in the world, God's offering that same equal amount of good. And He's like, it's free, it's easy, it's amazing. Persecution comes with it because the world's going to hate you for being awesome and blessed. You're like, wait, why is your life so awesome? Where's your hope that that you have for the future? Why do you have this hedge of protection? Fill in the word all these cool Christian words. And it's like, I want what you have, and if I can't have it, I'll just kill you. Because the only thing I can get rid of is your flesh, because the spirit in
Right.
you is so awesome. And
Right.
guess what? You have an eternal destiny, and I don't.
Mhm.
I want what you have. And sometimes as faith members, we're the weak, feeble ones, like, like the world is so strong and like there's doing so many bad things. And God's like, dude, you're awesome and amazing because I am in you and I'm moving on your behalf, and I go and fight all the enemies and I beat them all 100-0. And sometimes I think we got to kind of stand back and be like, yeah, we talk about a lot of weird, dark stuff, and the world is weird and dark. Guess why? Because it's full of sin. It's full of the devil. That's the world's doing its world job. But are we
Yep.
doing the equal opposite of our job? Because we got to stand
Right.
strong. We got to stand firm and be like, hey, dude, I see what you're doing, and no, we're not going to have any of that. But we're too busy biting the cake of the world to realize that God's standing there on the other end of the spectrum, like, you're going to eat the food from the world. You do know, like, get back over here. Sometimes I feel like God wants to grab us by our collar and yank us back home. It's like, hey,
Right.
get back over here where you're supposed to be. So, I think that other side of the story is just as awesome as every bad thing we just talked about. There's the equal opposite of good times a billion.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We should be on our knees lamenting and repenting, not just for ourselves, but for our fathers and our fathers' fathers and our fathers' 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 fathers, and go live for Him. Live a meaningful, purpose-filled life for the kingdom. We could
Yep.
do that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We could do that. All right, let's go do that. Love you guys. See you next time. Let us know what you think down in the comments.
All right.
Ciao.
Shalom.